Okay, so I did do some research on your family, and I know y'all got Dula Town, which is your family's town.
Yeah.
Can you tell the cousins a little bit about that? Get them a little bit of background on the doulas, because you was like, I'm a doula.
Yeah.
And they might not know that. That name actually hold weight. So
Yeah,
give them a little bit of that.
the doula name holds weight, especially in Northwestern North Carolina where we're from, and it's always been a point. It's always a town that the sheriff's at the point like they don't want to come necessarily, and we do legalize it because we are a very vibrant, emotional people, and we love hard, we play hard, we fight hard, and for those that don't know, our family was started by a freed slave and a slave owner. That slave owner's name was Alfred, and then the mother of our family. And so he purchased her and then freed her. And she had 2 kids already. And they together 10 kids, all with the name of Dula. And he purchased land for those kids, and put him on that because he couldn't marry her. He was a judge, and he had a wife previously.
He was a judge?
He was a judge.
Oh, okay.
Judge Squire. That was his, Squire was his nickname.
Okay.
And one of the things about it is a white dude told me about the family. You know what I'm saying? So not my family necessarily, because a lot of them really didn't even know. Because all the years that had passed back. He told me, he was like, Mr. Hawkins. It was in case he was like, man, do you know about your family? And I'm like, what you talking about, Mr. Hawkins? I think I was in the 10th grade. And he was like, man, your family is prevalent in Northwestern North Carolina before a lot of this stuff was named. And he pointed me to the place to start to go research, and I did. And I looked it up and found it and everything. And out of those 12 kids that my great-great-great-grandmother had was born 96 grandchildren. So that's where the Dula men get their
Right.
So Dula men are known from all the way goddamn down to goddamn the coast of North Carolina.
Right.
And so, and we are still there on that land.
Right.
And
it wasn't no small piece of land. It was 2,000
no, it was
acres.
like 2,000 some acres.
That's a lot of land.
Yeah, it's a lot of damn land. And even though right now it's not, we don't own 2,000 of it, we still own the majority.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of times, I'll tell you a story. When I was a kid, they made fun of the doulas.
Wow.
You know, outside because of the way we talk, the slowness. There was an excerpt in a book I read. Mr. Hawkins actually ended up being the historical director for Caldwell County. And I went in and picked up a book one time. I was in the museum some years later. And I was reading an excerpt from one of the ladies. And because there's the us, and then there's the white doulas who are over in Lower Creek area of Lenore and Caldwell County.
Okay. Dula Town is the black doulas.
Is the black doulas. And we went to school with some of the white doulas, not many. Most of them would end up over at a school called High Brighton. And I read that excerpt, and when she was just talking, there was a club that's called the Daughters of the Revolution. What's the name? And she was a member of that, and she was writing from that basis. And she made mention of us, and she said, one of the things that she said is that we used to go over there, and there was a nanny that come over and would take care of us. And if I had to describe the doulas, I would describe them as an unremarkable people. And that shit sat with me, and I was like, nah, not this one. If any goddamn thing, you're gonna know my name. And you're gonna know who the fuck I am and what the fuck we do. And I ain't ever gonna stop claiming that shit. Even some of my own family members from the other side would pick at the doulas and say this, and I was like, nah.
Hey cousins, it's your girl Goddess 7, and listen, this commercial break is actually sponsored by me. Y'all make sure y'all go to Amazon and get this manifestation journal. 369 21-day manifestation journal. I'm gonna help you manifest all of your dreams, everything that you're inspiring. I'm gonna help you get there. I'm gonna guide you in this journal. Make sure y'all go check out Amazon Prime. The link is in the description. Go get your journal.
So I was always fighting because I would be like, I'm from motherfucking Lenore. I am a doula, and ain't shit you can do about it.
Why would they want to fight you?
Because It was not. For one, there were no doulas in my school, except for me and my brother. I was the only one. We were the only ones in this elementary school full of white kids or white people, and it's an area that no black folk wasn't necessarily at that time making a lot of noise.
Right.
So I had to go against a lot of these damn white kids. I was fighting all the damn time with these damn white kids. And the damn thing about it is that I was good as hell in fight, because I be whooping white kids' ass. I be whooping their ass physically on the playground and then whooping their ass in the classroom at the same damn time. And so it just built this kind of reputation that would, that I had to follow through all the way through, even when I went back to Lenore. And I went back to Lenore when I was in the 4th grade and with my mom. And, my mom had fell out with my grandmother and all this other stuff, and she got an opportunity for another job. And we went back, moved back to Lenore, and that was it.
Okay. Now, was your great-great-grandmother, like, of Indian descent? African?
We don't
African?
know.
Or, okay.
We don't know. We knew she was African. We don't know how much Native American was in her, or if there was any, because they didn't keep a lot of records at that time going past. We got her going all the way, I think, to like 1862 or 1861 or something like that, because they would transfer slaves from plantation to plantation. And so the Dulas had a few plantations, whether it be in North Carolina, Virginia, or in South Carolina. And so we can only go back to, I think, South Carolina before they moved her up to what was then Wilkes County.
Okay. All right. So, and I did do research, so I did find out, the white doulas, they just started, coming to y'all family reunions, 15 to 20 years ago.
Yeah.
What was, y'all relationship with the white doulas?
Oh, we didn't talk to them motherfuckers. They didn't want nothing to do with us. We didn't want nothing to do with their ass.
Okay. So
they would stay over there in Lower Creek and do what the hell they wanted. And every now and again, we would have we'd go to high school together, and that was pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I found out about it. I did research, but the PBS video came up. Did you see the PBS video?
Yeah.
Did they reach out to y'all to do the story on your
Leslie is a big part of our family, and she was over at Western Carolina. Western Piedmont, and she put out the book first, and then the PBC video, and that was the talk of the time. And I'm gonna tell you one damn thing. It makes me proud, but it also pisses me off in the same damn sense, because there was a lot of people from Dula Town who, once that came out, started claiming Dula Town. You know what I mean?
Now everybody want to be from
Now
Dula
everybody want to be down from down Dula Town and say, I grew up over there. What's the name? Oh, now it's good for y'all motherfuckers to tell people y'all drink moonshine and drinking all this shit to come over there. All right then, goddamn.
Okay.
All right, but okay then, come on, real loving people. We ain't gonna let you forget it though.
Okay.
Y'all already know it's your girl Goddess 7, and today's commercial break is sponsored by Bundles by K-Lord. She has all types of bundles. This is actually some of the bundles right here. So what type you have again?
So right now I'm wearing the straight hair, you know what I'm saying? All I did was crimp it a little bit just to give it some body. But yeah, I'm wearing a 16-inch 5x5 HD closure, and then 18, 20, and 22 for the lengths. And y'all see how long it is? Who 22 is
inches?
Who 22 is going that low? Y'all can find my booking site at www.bundlesbykalore.online. That's BUNDLESBYKALORE. Period.
All right. So anytime I interview a guest, I ask them what are some topics they might want to talk about. One of the things you said you want to talk about is religion. So when it comes to religion, what's your thoughts about Christianity? Do you think Christianity was something that was forced on us as black people, or do you think it's always been with us as black people?
Christianity has always been with us as far as for black people. Even before the time of Christ, the Trinity existed. So there was always that concept that floated through traditional religion in Africa. And I don't care how far you go through Africa, all the way down to the tip in South Africa, or if you come up through the Congo and Kenya and Central Africa, all the way up to North North Africa. It's always been there. I think what happened is just that, like a lot of things that happen with African culture and African inventions and African creations, is that we are a free people who are teachers and givers of knowledge. And across that goddamn Mediterranean is Europe. And we give freely to Europe, that from education to religion, and they are the ones who monopolize it and sell it back to people.
Right.
It's not something that traditional African culture ever did.
Right.
And so I think that that's why I think Christianity was before that.
Right. Well, Christianity have been around for a long time, but 4,000 years before Christianity, it was Kemet. And Kemet is Egypt. They changed the name to Egypt when the Romans took over, but Kemet was 4,000 years before, and a lot of things that we learned in Christianity, because I grew up in the church too, it basically came from the Kemet culture. Like, the stories was just changed around, you know, to make it seem like black people wasn't as powerful as they was.
Right.
When it originally came from us. And then when they took over Egypt, they came out with Christianity.
Yeah.
Which Christianity was taught to the black people, especially the black people that was brought over here as slaves.
Exactly. And it was, but here's the thing, Christianity was taught to black people in Europe and in American slavery, even though we taught them Christianity. Even though you teaching slaves Christianity, that religion came from slaves. So as Jesus, because he had no choice but to wander, because he was kicked out and being chased because of the things that he did as a kid, and his challenges to the systems that were actually in place at that point in time, which made him a friend to the zealots at the time, especially, you know, in that area. And a zealot wasn't a religious fanatic. That term had got hijacked by the beginning of the original popes in Alexandria, Egypt. But zealots were just rebels. That was just the term for a rebel who was rebelling against the Roman Empire at the time. And so as Jesus went, those were the folks that he actually befriended, hung around, and stayed with.
Right.
And that's how he built his discipleship. It's through that. So as he traveled up through there, he learned it, and he said one thing. He said, and because there's no necessarily writings that you can point back to, because Jesus spoke Aramaic, and there's only a few Aramaic writings of his that are actually still left, and still scholars are unable to actually translate it.
Well, did you know, like, in Kemet, in the land of Kemet, on the walls of Kemet, it talk about the story of Jesus. But again, in Africa, Jesus' name was actually Haru. His father's name was Asar. So
the story of Jesus, because it's one thing that you have to understand. We are living in a world of time, and that time is exponential. So it had already happened before. And so going through these different civilizations, you realize that. And you know, and I'm just sitting back, putting myself in type of that situation and just following the path.